Hey, and welcome to a new episode of Co-Creating with AI. I'm Martin, and with me is Rasmus. And today we're going to follow up on the last episode of our podcast where we talked about multimodal AI. Today we're going to talk about how multimodal AI is being rolled out into our daily lives, and both as multimodal AI models and AI services that combine text, video, images, books, audio, you name it, into one coherent solution. And what's your thought about this at the moment, Rasmus?
I think it's just like amazing what Meta is doing, actually. First of all, we talked about it before being like the open source champion,
Yes.
but primarily, like if you just look at, if we take like say, if we divide the world in professional life and where you have like a lot of the Microsoft products, and
Mm.
then you have a lot of like the Google Workspace products where there's happening really cool things in AI, right? And we're involved with Multiply, but if we look at kind of the cultural, social side of our lives, then I think there's no company that has bigger reach than Meta. And now they're of course, doing a few interesting things. First of all, they just announced the start of the rollout of their Meta AI assistant across, their all their apps, WhatsApp, Instagram. I think it's probably Facebook Messenger,
Yes.
etc. And then the second thing is uh, is kind of their AR glasses that actually look really nice. With it seems like with I
Mm.
think it's with Oakley. So those two things I think are interesting for different perspectives, and one is more like maybe where we start. We can start with like the existing social platforms and what that actually means, and maybe why they do it. Uh, because that has a much more like easily understood, a little bit like chat GPT, multimodal chat GPT in
Mm.
WhatsApp, right? It's
Yeah.
like quite an easy frame. And then maybe it would be interesting to look at kind of multimodal AI and what we can expect, or at least imagine from our, like when we get AR glasses,
Mm.
which I think is quite fun to play with in the mind. So do you
Yeah.
have any like thoughts around maybe the first part, like the rollout across Meta
Sure.
services?
Yeah. So and of course their glasses that they made with, I think it's Ray-Ban, but
Right.
Ray-Ban and Oakley is the same company. It's just different logotypes on the same brand, and like it's very close to me both because I I built Hayware, the eyewear business in New York in 2019, but also the narrative clip, of course, with taking photos of your life, which and what they're doing is to sort of combining those into glasses that that can capture photos of everything you do, photos and video, and they're shipping the glasses with Meta AI as a digital assistant. So they're rolling out that AI to just be very present in your life if you have those glasses and use them. And yeah, it's exciting because they are able to do what Google failed with the Google Glass, which was far too nerdy and techy and looked very dangerous and scary back in, I don't know when they launched, 2012 or 14 or something like that, 10 years ago. And now Meta is doing the same, hopefully succeeding, because I think it's a nice format to be able to capture um, with your glasses. Snap did almost the same thing, but what eh, Meta is doing is that they're shipping in the spring. They're going to ship multimodal capability, and that's why it's very relevant for the topic at hand, where the AI is going to start to understand not only what you're speaking to it, but also what you're looking at. So you can have a discussion about what's on this time menu, or how do I understand this bike repair manual, or um, who is that person in front of me, and why is she so happy when she's looking at me? I don't know, like what, and what's that gonna mean for people everywhere of all ages? I mean, in professions and private life, um, and perhaps if you have Alzheimer's and so on, it's going to have huge implications. Hopefully, almost positive across the board.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I so like on the glasses, I think that I mean, it's so hard to know, but like if you think about screens, they take us away from reality, kind of. VR even more so, like into separate reality, and AR kind of takes us potentially back, right? And
Mm.
then computers and especially AI, I think, can really kind of bring us closer to reality and each other potentially. I mean, I don't know about you, but I often bounce into people where I'm like, I know them, but I don't know who they are. And
Yeah.
maybe that's something about me, but I know I'm not the only one that happens to. And at the same time, I think for a lot of people, like understanding, what someone meant, when they
Mm.
said something, or just recalling what someone said. So recalling who someone is, recalling who someone said, and getting contextual information about where you are, and what you need
Yeah.
to know and where you need to go. I mean, Google Maps, looking down in your phone, right? I mean, we've seen these examples in demos, I think, like years back,
Mm.
where you see this yellow arrow out in the road instead.
Hmm.
You know, that's, I mean, road safety or whatever, or just like being present in reality while navigating the world. So I think it's at least for me, like AR was kind of like, yeah, I mean, but is that really going to work? But then when you combine it with understanding what these multimodal models can actually do on
Mm.
screen now,
Yeah.
you realize, at least, I don't know, for me, it's pretty obvious that sci-fi future is not that far ahead,
Mm.
because the multimodal models can interpret images and understand them, and then like we said in the last episode, take a picture of a whiteboard and code from it, right? Then it could take the picture of a menu in Thailand and translate it for you without you needing to tell it, right? Because it knows that's what you want,
Yeah.
because it knows you don't know the Thai language.
Mm.
So I think it's really like that combination, like it's almost like AI makes AR believable, or not even believable, but like highly probable to work the way we imagine it to, especially when you start thinking about multimodal AI. And that's quite exciting. I'm quite excited about that. Like, I don't know what to call it, that computing paradigm. I don't know what AR is called, but like it's kind of a
Mm.
shift. At least it's a platform shift, at least.
Yeah. You could call it wearable computing, perhaps, if
Yeah.
you want. If, yeah. And just opens up for the AI and me as a human to have the same perspective, and to then that with the same perspective, a shared perspective, it's an increased understanding, where we can work more effectively, co-create more effectively together. I think as a team, and just that I don't have to explain the situation and the context. The AI can just learn that. So long term, I think this is really pointing us a strong direction forward.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Because if you think about just these glasses, I mean, it's probably not these glasses, right? But let's imagine a bunch of
Mm.
years out.
Yeah.
And you have a truly multimodal model that understands images, and then by extension, video, which is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing a lot of images coming at us, a lot of visual information, and we hear a lot of things, and we maybe feel it's not going to happen, right? But at least and it can communicate with us, in different ways, talking to us through our headphones,
Mm.
or showing something on the screen right in front of us on our AR glasses, or like projected into the world, or even like a text or whatever, right? It can communicate with us in different ways. Then you really have the possibility of this AI understanding, like being very side by side with us. I think that's maybe what you meant with co-creating, but it's like having this little, like it's really sitting on your shoulder,
Hmm.
like we're like in almost inside you, because it gets the same information about your life as you do, apart from the thoughts that are in your head, and even that, like it seems like these new models can actually read, which is not a topic, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but I think that's very interesting, both from that perspective, and also if you want to apply it to robotics, like what Tesla is doing with Optimus, etc.
Yeah.
So I really feel like this multimodal really like makes it, I don't know, it makes it very tangible for me, at least, that all these like sci-fi things are not that far ahead,
Mm.
even though of course rolling them out will take a long time. Like,
Yes.
but what do you feel about this? Like, are you gonna, you know, would you get the Meta AI glasses?
I do want to get them, yes, and
Yeah.
it just and but that's more to actually to explore the technology than to use them, perhaps. But that's that you never know what kind of use cases that come up, and I think just to have and for them to start exploring now is really important because even like you said, maybe it's not this model of glasses that is going to change everything, but wearable computing is going to bring AI further into our lives with a shared understanding, and I strongly believe that in that as a platform, and also it's it also ties into the Meta Quest 3, which has this AR capability already, where it projects the room into the VR glasses, which allows
Mm.
it to place digital entities inside your room, and you can sort of bounce a ball against the wall, and of course those entities are going to be AI driven. Both you're going to talk to them and they're going to generate their thoughts and speech with foundational AI models, but also they're going to be visualized in your physical presence, and I think like they are um, of course aiming to merge these. They're working from a very lightweight platform, doing whatever they can with glasses that feel as light as normal sunglasses, maybe looks just a tiny bit more blocky, and Ray-Ban is actually putting out really blocky sunglasses these days. Maybe that's just to
Mm-hmm. Mm.
normalize or make it modern with really huge big blocky sunglasses, so that it will not be scary to have them with cameras in. But they're still very lightweight, and they're doing what they can with that within those constraints. And then on the other opposite spectrum end of the spectrum, they are releasing Meta Quest 3, which is a very capable AR platform with projecting the room into your VR experience, and with another few years of hardware and software development, those experiences platforms are going to merge into one and be as powerful as Meta Quest 3, but as lightweight as the Meta Ray-Ban capture glasses.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because I really also have that sense of things coming together. So, I mean, for example, then if we take the other part of what we're going to talk about, which is the kind of rollout that's happening now in Meta social platforms. They had this demo of, say, a bunch of celebrities, that where they had made like quite realistic, I think, digital avatars. For example, Snoop Dogg as a dungeon master. So you can really imagine, a bunch of kids wearing these Quest 3s and then having Snoop Dogg there in the room with them.
Yeah.
It feels like, you see your friends, they're there, you're actually in the same room, your sense, and, actually, really, you are in the
Mm.
same room. But there's Snoop Dogg as well, being your dungeon master.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and of course that's like an example maybe most people listening to this won't relate to personally, and I probably wouldn't either, at least at this age. But I think that all of these things really feel like they're coming together here for at least for
Mm.
AR and bringing kind of the intelligence of these models out into the world. And I think Meta is actually, like, the more and more I think about it, it's a very unique position that they have this social graph of 3 billion people across their platforms with so many different mediums like being interacted. I mean, maybe they're behind TikTok in video and definitely behind, but with all the images of Instagram and all the text of Messenger, WhatsApp,
Mm.
and all the images on Facebook, etc. Right? There's so much um, of a graph there that,
Mm.
like, I can really imagine their models becoming foundationally good about at connecting people. Which, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, I think, has spoken about a lot about his uh, purpose for
Yeah.
building this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty interesting actually. If you train a foundational model on relationship building, what happens then? Like, based on all that social graph, like building strong relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you look at anyone being able to build like the digital companion kind of thing, her, it makes
mm,
sense that who has the most data on that? That's Facebook, or like,
yeah,
sorry, Meta.
yeah,
Um, there's a bunch of these like I don't know. It's even mind-boggling to speak about actually. Like when you start thinking down these different lanes, like, all right, okay, wow, like things are
mm,
going to move fast.
yeah. And and then they are also making some uh, attempts or explorations into the business sector. They're going to partner with Microsoft on bringing the Office suite into MetaQuest 3, so you can work or write or create your PowerPoints inside the metaverse. And I think that this strategy of working from two ends of the spectrum, the high fidelity and the low fidelity, they're doing that on the metaverse as well. I think one of the hurdles for metaverse acceptance has been that their avatars has been so like looking like Lego figures or something like that, that it's very hard to believe that you're going to have a business meeting with avatars looking like that. But
Mm,
now they have a research project which they demoed with Lex Friedman's podcast, where they have these hyper realistic avatars created with a 3D scan that takes an hour or more to create,
mm,
and then they create a very lifelike presence with another person. And so that's also like them employing this, working from both low fidelity and high
mm.
fidelity spectrum, and then seeing where they meet in the middle, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and again, like an example of coming together, right? So they've been playing with this metaverse for a bunch of years, and
Mm,
with this like low fidelity, and then you can really see how video to video models, like, or just examples of the avatars they made with like Snoop Dogg, etc., they're
mm,
becoming very realistic now.
yeah.
Like they're becoming very realistic. So like at some point it won't really, the difference between you and I being in the same room
Mm,
chatting and being having you sitting here next to me with my Quest 3 on, that you actually are sitting here in the room with me and I'm sitting in the room with you,
yeah.
uh, like physically, like that will be really Star Trekky.
Mm,
It's gonna be, and again, it feels like this is really technology convergence, that these things are like actually happening now. And then
mm,
of course it's hard to say what's within 2 years and 5 and 10, right? But it's past the point of probable to like very, very like hard to see why it wouldn't work
mm,
in my mind. But maybe there are still like really like fundamental things we haven't solved to make these kind of things happen. But I don't see them, at least when I look at these different examples and just take one plus one.
mm,
It makes sense that we will, um, yeah, we will have this.
yeah. I think one of the biggest hurdle is the like just the social awkwardness of having these huge VR glasses on, and it's
Yeah.
you can only ever do that while being lonely or with people you're very safe with, and I think that's going to be a hurdle to overcome. And um, in a business setting, I don't know if you could sit in an office with VR glasses on and feel like you're doing work, serious work,
Yeah.
but and have other colleagues like see you as a serious professional if you do that on a daily basis. And there's all these social norms to get over, and that can be a like it's a hurdle that you shouldn't underestimate, just that because it's so hard to get away from the way you are perceived from the outside world when you have VR glasses on. But maybe that can be we are already having phone booths to not disturb people. Maybe there will be VR booths as well, and where you're safe, where you can lock yourself in and not be seen or heard.
We lock ourselves in to not be seen and heard so we can connect
Yes,
digitally.
exactly.
It's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
interesting. But I
yeah,
think I agree with you. I think that's actually I think it's a really good point. Like
yeah,
the biggest thing, like the easiest thing to underestimate is how hard it is to change behavior, both
mm,
like individually, me changing my behavior, but also collectively. So I mean, it's very hard to like see. Do I would like how would I feel about hanging out with you and you have your Meta AR glasses on? Like,
Mm.
do I feel like you're looking at your phone? Because, or
Mm.
do I feel like you're kind of observing me because you can be scrolling down the timeline of my pictures to know what I've been doing, so that when you say something, you know, like I feel like you know me, but then I'm not going to trust that because I
Yeah.
know that's on your glasses. Like there might be a lot of these like things that are quite hard to predict, like from exactly the point of view that
Mm.
you just presented.
Yeah.
Um, and most likely, as always, like the things that are going to work first are things that are like already part of our kind of behavioral norms,
Mm.
that are just like supercharging them or enabling them or fitting right in with them.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's like maybe the most, on top of that, maybe the most interesting thing with Meta AI on a near term basis is that like 3 billion people are going to have it in products they use daily.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
that's like, I mean, that's a fast rollout.
Yeah.
You know, their assistant, so to say, are going to get so many
Mm.
more users so much more quickly than ChatGPT.
Yeah.
If we're going to look at that as a product, right? Which is not really
Definitely.
fair, but
Yeah.
it's really
Mm.
taking AI mainstream
Yeah.
in a way that I don't think Google nor Microsoft can do. Actually, I'm
No,
not sure what
that's very
TikTok has
true.
been up to. I've heard they've done some stuff, but like,
So TikTok is
mm,
more AI on the content creation level. So
yeah,
kids nowadays, they're actually consuming a lot of AI generated content, and like they are completely fine with sitting for a long time listening to very synthetic sounding voices if they are telling a funny story or an interesting
mm,
story, which
mm.
in a way that amazes me. I it bothers me even that they they don't care about how low fidelity the voices are. I just want to, before we completely leave the topic of the social awkwardness of VR glasses or VR headsets, I like we can't discuss that without also mentioning the Apple Vision Pro, where they've made decision to have an actual display on the outside that can show your uh, like a 3D model of your eyes on the outside of the VR headset, and so it looks like some kind of scuba diving gear that you're like looking out through, but it is a screen in front on the front of the VR headset. So
Oh, I didn't know that's how it worked. I thought it could literally go let's
no,
bullshit
it's a
on me.
screen.
It could
Yeah,
literally go like ish, like transparent-ish. Oh, so it's
no,
just like it's a complete locked in screen on the inside and on the outside.
yeah, exactly.
All
So
right.
for people on the outside are going to see your face on project like on a screen on the outside of the VR headset, and I I can't imagine people feeling that being natural from the start. But is it going to be natural down the line or not? It's I think it's a very brave experiment that they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, not like Apple. They usually think things through, and they're
Yeah,
more often right than
yeah,
wrong. And I mean, you
yeah,
can imagine
exactly.
like, I mean, Swedish summer, right? Everyone has sunglasses on, and
Yeah,
we're hanging. We don't see each other's eyes. It's a bit pretty unsocial, but like
hmm,
people are doing it.
yeah,
When you're skiing, you have your ski goggles with like reflecting glasses on
mm,
when you're talking and stuff, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, it's not unreasonable that if they are very useful and appreciated for other things, that norm would be, fine. It could even be a look, but
mm.
I don't know actually. It's very very hard to very hard to see, but
Yeah.
it did fool me. Like they did fool me.
In the video, yes, because in the video, I mean, they've made the video look good.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Yeah, okay,
how
fair
does
enough.
it look in real life? That's the question.
Did they start shipping them yet?
I have
Do you
no
know?
idea. I'm not
No.
that much of a Apple fanboy, although I use
Yeah.
most of my hardware is Apple. I'm not keeping up with the news around them, but I I want to try them when they come out, maybe sometime next
Yeah.
year.
Oh,
Mm.
cool. Thanks, Martin. I mean, I think this was it's fun. Like things are moving fast now,
Yeah,
this episode and the last one really got me to like think a bit more about multimodality and how that sort of enables a lot of these shifts that
yeah.
people have been talking about for a long time. So
Yeah,
it's
and
going to be fun to keep exploring.
I also like your term of idea of convergence. That multimodal means that everything going on in AI and in this case VR converges into complete solutions. It's just not one chat interface or one image to image transfer model, but everything coming together. That's in a convergent way, and of course that is extremely powerful and exciting to think about.
And scary if we want to talk about robotics in one
Sure.
episode, because this actually scary slash useful, right? But it's really like multimodal models also converges with the robotics,
Mm,
right?
yeah,
That would be a fun topic another
yeah.
time.
And robots are already in our homes, like with the Roombas and I mean Amazon's or
Alexa.
Google at home
Yeah.
appliances. But they are not, and they are not scary. And I don't think robots will be scary because any scary robot will never go mainstream, which informs me that robots are going to be nice, cuddly, and friendly entities that we're gonna love hanging out with. It's just
Mm,
can look at Google, the first Google concept of a driving car was super cute, just to make it as non-scary as possible. It looked impossibly toyish and
mm.
childish. Anyway, this has been a fun episode of to at least to record of co-creating with AI, and thank you, listener, for being with us all the way, and thanks to Rasmus as well.
Thanks, Martin.